Right. Good morning and welcome to the stock market update. It is Thursday, April 28th. It's good to be back, and there's a lot to talk about because yesterday stocks were flat after really volatile trading sessions, but overall they have the worst start to the year since 1942. So we'll take a look at this. Earnings are a mixed bag. So we had Microsoft reporting earnings, Visa, Google, Boeing, Facebook, Teladoc. We will take a look at this. And today we have some major economic reports. Basically, the advanced estimate for the GDP, and that's super important. We'll tell you why. Plus, I mean, with these markets, we might get assigned in 5 positions trading the wheel. So we'll show you how our trades are doing. But before we dive in and show you what's moving the markets, if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Markus Heitkoetter. That super smart guy over there is my head coach, Mark Hodge. And together we have more than 47 years of trading experience. And every morning we sift through a mountain of news websites, newsletters, and reports. And then we take the most important news and go live right here to share with you what do you need to know as you head into your trading day. Also, if this is your first time here, I know it can be a little bit overwhelming, but don't worry. We have a special video just for you that I will link to in the description. And that's a great place to get started. Now, before we take a look at the charts and how we are trading the markets, Mark, it's so good to be back.
Nice to have you back, Marcus.
Yeah, but I leave you alone for a few days, and what do you do to the markets? I mean, holy cannoli.
Just trying to have some fun.
Yeah, we'll take a look at this in a minute, but let me just take a couple of minutes and tell you about what happened here. So Vivian and I visited Dartmouth College. So interestingly enough, Dartmouth College is not in Dartmouth. It's in Hanover, New Hampshire. Who knew? I didn't know that. Well, glad I Googled it before we went up there. So anyhow, so the drive from Boston to Hanover was so cool. All these different trees. It's amazing. See, here in Texas, we have only two types of trees: oak and cedar. And they're sneezing right now. We talked about this. Anyhow, so when we got to Dartmouth College, we walked around the campus for a bit, and it's a really beautiful school. You see, they have this huge green that runs through the campus, and they call it the green. And so we took a picture there. It wasn't very green this time of the year, but you might see the truck in the back there. They're working on it. I don't know if they were spray painting it green or if they were seeding it. Anyhow, so after we walked around for a little bit, we met with the sailing coach, because this time it wasn't a normal campus visit, because Vivian has been doing really great with sailing. So the Dartmouth sailing coach invited her and a handful of other sailors to spend the day with him and the sailing team. So it was kind of a recruiting trip. And in the morning, the sailing coach gave a short presentation about the sailing program. And so he stressed that the program is a Division One varsity program, and they take this super seriously. So you see, they have a strength training coach, they have a conditioning coach, they have a nutritionist, and even a psychologist. Because I mean, same as in trading with sailing, a lot is happening here, right? The mental gain. Anyhow, so in return, they expect from the kids that they give 100%. So they start sailing as soon as the lake unfreezes, and yes, they sail in 36 degrees weather with a wind chill. And you see, this is when the coach said, if you want to do well here, you must love sailing and you must love winter. Well, it wouldn't be anything for me. Anyhow, he said, if you do, then you will have the time of your life. And then he told the story about a kid from Southern California who joined the Dartmouth sailing team. And everything was fun in the fall when the weather was still nice. But when winter came, he complained about the cold and that there's no surfing in New Hampshire. And you see, this is where the coach just said, and you didn't know that before you decided to come here? So he turned to us and said, if you don't love sailing, working out, and winter, don't do it. Don't come here. You will be miserable. And see, I thought about it. I thought, isn't it true for everything in life? See, as an example, since we talk about trading, if you don't love trading, don't do it. I mean, we love trading. This is why we love doing it. It's the same as with the weather in New Hampshire. Sometimes trading can be fun, like a fall day in New England when the leaves change. And sometimes, like this week, trading can be challenging, like sailing in 36 degree wind chill. I don't know. So, but you see, with trading, you must love it. You must love the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you absolutely need to know what you're getting into before you commit. Don't jump all in like this California kid and expect it to be summer all year long, right? And so this is where the Dartmouth sailing team has a famous saying. They always say, you know what? It has been colder. And I think there's a good thing to keep in mind when you have a tough week with trading, because it could always be worse.
Sure.
Trust me. Isn't that the truth?
Good point. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyhow, yeah. So let's take a look at what the markets did yesterday. So I'm bringing up here the S&P, and holy cannoli! I mean, we are scratching here the lows of the year.
We are, Marcus, and I know that you were briefly looking at things while you were on your trip, but Tuesday just a monster down day, and yesterday it was a little bit back and forth, a little choppy, trying to figure out direction here.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I mean, I'm not surprised, right? I mean, stocks have major headwinds here. So we have the inflation, we have the Fed tightening, we have the talks about interest rates, we have still have the war in Ukraine going on, and there's some news there. So we'll talk about this, and then we also have the China
Yep.
zero tolerance lockdown. So there's just a lot of going on, and earnings are pretty much a mixed bag, right? Let's talk about a
Sure.
few major earnings from yesterday. I mean, we had Microsoft, right? And so Microsoft did well yesterday. So yesterday up 4.8%.
Yeah, nice earnings report, earnings beat. They did well, adding a little pre-market too. And then there was Alphabet.
Yeah, I just
I
wanted to
thought you
bring up
were.
Visa really quick, because Visa
Sure.
also did really well. So they were up 6.5%. And then, yeah, on the flip side, Alphabet, boom, down
Yep.
almost 4%.
So that was the reaction to earnings from the previous day. They reported after the bell. But yeah, Marcus, a couple of that reported yesterday after the bell. And I know you had Visa and did Boeing report after the bell, or
Boeing.
was that the previous day?
Well, either way, I mean, Boeing was also a huge miss, down 7.5%. So we basically
Yeah.
have Microsoft, Visa up, Google and Boeing down, and that's pretty much has been the theme thus far for earnings season, right? I mean, some companies seem to do really, really well, others seem to struggle, and so that's definitely one of the factors that are playing into this nervousness of the markets.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to bring up one that reported today or yesterday. That was Facebook, Meta.
Yeah, let's bring up Facebook. Ticker symbol still FB, even though it's called Facebook. And yeah, they are up this morning 15%.
Yeah, huge reaction there. And then you have the opposite move. You could look at Teladoc.
Yeah. Teladoc, on the other hand, boom, there we go. I mean, down 40%. You can't even see it here on the chart. So we have to down all the way there. And I mean, if we zoom out, that's kind of crazy where they are right now. They've been struggling for a while.
So interesting earnings, interesting earnings. I do believe that overall they're still a little better than expected. But we're you know what do we do with this? The bigger names like Facebook helping out the Nasdaq, and we're seeing futures positive, which we could take a look at, but still a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah. And I mean, this is where we also got some news from Russia about natural gas. Let me bring this up, because natural gas yesterday jumped a lot. So let's just take a look at this here. Did you see what happened there? So yesterday was a huge update. This morning retreating a little bit, but yesterday I think it was like 8%.
Yeah, and that was tied to Russia. They stopped natural gas supplies to Poland and Bulgaria as those countries failed to respond to President Vladimir Putin's demand to pay for energy imports in rubles. So that was one thing that he was trying to do to get away from the U.S. dollar and other currencies, and help support the Russian currency. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen reportedly said the move tantamount to another provocation from the Kremlin. So they were believing that it was viewed as blackmail, and that sent natural gas higher, and it's an issue for Europe for sure.
Yeah, so there's still news coming out of Russia, especially with the war. I mean, it's now in its third month, and I don't think that Putin expected it to go that long. So right now he has to just try to find a way to retaliate. He's trying to do this with demanding gas payments in ruble, even though the contracts say very clearly euro. But so we'll see what is happening here. Now, going back to the markets and just looking at it, I mean, markets have been here. Let me come back. At the worst in 80 years, worst start of the year in 80 years since 1942. And I
Wow.
found this here. This is I found this on CNBC. The source of the data is Bank of America. And you see the worst start since 1942. We see in 2022 right now, 79 days in, minus 12.4%. In 2020, we had minus 2.2%. In 1970, minus 10.1% at this time of the year. And look at this. I mean, at the end of the year, it always recovered. Except here. This was World War II. I mean, just the start of World War II. So this is where
Sure.
it ended. But it doesn't seem that it got any worse. So, I mean, this is where looking at the markets here, is the worst over or is it still to come? I mean, just looking at the historical chart, we might be at a point where the worst could be over.
And it's possible, Marcus, because we mentioned what's moving the market and what's being a weight on the market. But what if one of those things improves, right? What if the COVID situation in China improves, and then that's no longer on the table as a major concern? What if Russia kind of gets it together and realizes that we need to do something different in a positive way rather than negative? What if that situation improves? And what if raising points by a half point, and the Fed all of a sudden the situation on the inflation side is a little bit better? Stocks could skyrocket with three things improving, but one or two could really make a difference. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of negativity already priced in my opinion.
It sure is. So let's take a look at our positions. So one of the positions that we have is Blackstone, right? So we sold the 110 puts, and yesterday Blackstone was trading at 107. So I mean, the puts expire tomorrow. If prices are trading below 110, we have to buy shares of Blackstone at 110. But you know what? I would be absolutely fine with it because look
Yeah.
at this. This is really, really strong support. I wouldn't mind getting assigned here at all. Let's see.
Agree.
A few others. We have Macy's. I mean, Macy's is super resilient. It seems. You said we sold
They-
the 23 puts expiring tomorrow. Right now, it is trading way higher. So I mean, we might not get assigned, but there's a risk that a few others are getting assigned. For example, Nvidia. I mean, chip makers got hit over the past few days. So Nvidia, we sold the 195 puts, and right now we are trading at 184. So I could get assigned here, but I still like this level a lot. I'm okay owning Nvidia at 195. So what else? I mean, TPR, I'm assigned at 37. So right now we are trading at 32, 33 around there. So yeah, I haven't been able to sell calls, but I'm still very happy with the position because, I mean, let's see. We could jump back here over the next few days. As soon as the NASDAQ recovers a little bit, we could do this. What else? We have Wells Fargo, right? I mean, Wells
Yep.
Fargo. That's another one. We sold the 44.50 puts, right now trading at 44.58. I mean, all of them expiring tomorrow. So yes, there's a good possibility that we might get assigned in all of these positions. And you know what? I would be very, very happy. I would be happy to get assigned in these positions. What do you think?
I feel the same way, and people have been asking, "Are you still trading the wheel in this market environment?" And yes,
Heck
but
yeah.
we have to be picky. We have to be selective. Trade quality stocks, trade good strikes at prices that you want to own the stock at. And I believe that the volatility helps out because it just means that the premium's higher. We could make more money on the premium side, or we could even go a little bit more conservative with the strikes that we're selecting. Either way, it's a win.
Right. So let's take a look at the pre-market action here. Let's actually take a look at the Nasdaq futures and the overnight action here. So yesterday, huge jump just because of Facebook, and Facebook is one of the heavyweights in the weighting of the Nasdaq. I mean, Meta Platforms right here at what place number 8, and when this jumps, the whole Nasdaq gets pulled up. And this is
Sure.
what we saw here yesterday, hanging in there this morning, even rallying. And when I woke up and I saw that the Nasdaq was up almost 2%, I was actually thinking, oh, I still hope that I get a sign. I hope that the stocks bounce back. I want to get a sign. So that's the spirit when you're trading the wheel. It was like, oh, please, why can't you stay down another day or two so that I can get a sign?
Rally next week after the assignment so we could sell
That's
some nice calls.
exactly. However, we're still up 1.5%. So looking at a jump in the open here for the indices. Now, one thing that happened here this morning that could put a little bit of a damper on it, if you look at the economic reports. So in the economic reports this morning, we had advanced GDP. And that's a surprise that came in here.
Yes and no. Many investors and analysts they believe that the number was going to be worse than what was forecast, and so there are some reasons for that, some supply reasons, and there was a negative reaction, a little indecision right after the report, pulling a little bit lower. But I don't think that that's the surprise that it might look like on paper. I think that many people expected it to come out a little bit worse.
We'll see. Anyhow, it's negative, and you know what they say? Well, when we have two negative quarters, we are in a recession, and everybody's like, recession. But then on the other hand, we see that unemployment claims are still holding very steady, lower than the previous week, slightly higher than expected. So I think this is kind of the good news in this bad news scenario here.
Sure.
Anyhow, okay, we need to jump over to start trading live with our mastermind. And if you would like to know more how we trade these markets, take a look at these videos. Both of them are really good. Watch them next, and then we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day.
Happy trading, everybody.